Well, we've all heard of Larry Hart and all of his great books on Schenectady and the area and Albany. I mean, he's done it like the whole capital region like. But right now, with us, we have Alan, and Alan Hart is the son. And we went from the spoken word to now the written word and written history. How great. You had a great dad.
I sure did. I had a great mom, too. And
oh, of course.
she would have been 93 today. This is her birthday.
Oh, really?
And she passed away last year.
Yeah. And how did you remember your dad? Was he kind of always in the room writing, or did he involve you? How does that work?
My dad was a person that if he walked into a room, like at a wedding reception, the little buzz would start. Oh, Larry Hart's here, and all of a sudden there'd be a crowd around him. They'd ask him questions. He'd know the answer because he was a walking encyclopedia of local history.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can get a shot of the chair next to Alan. Look at that stack of books. He's written 16 books, and I noticed there's a couple with your name on. So tell me about those.
Oh, yeah. Well, my dad wrote 16 of them. I'm never going to catch up to him. But this was the first one. It was called The Sacandaga Story. And 1967, I still remember him working on the Underwood typewriter. And
before computers.
Yeah, 1967. It's still his best-selling book.
Is it really?
There's only a few hundred left, though. Some of his titles are out of print now.
Okay.
But I continue to sell them.
Yeah. And let's see what have you written now?
Well, I've had some humble efforts. I've written 4, and I guess, and this is how we kind of connected. We're both from Scotia.
Yeah, Scotia.
And, so that
dear old
Scotia, that comes from our alma mater.
Yeah, yeah.
And this was kind of a companion book because my teenage and young years were in the 1950s and 60s, and Schenectady. We really, half of my family lived in Schenectady. The grandparents.
Yeah, that's how it was with me.
So, and you walked across the bridge and...
you went Overtown, right?
Yeah, we used to call it Overtown.
Overtown, yeah. I was telling somebody that, and they go, what? I said, well, for us in Scotia, you went Overtown. And they said, why? I said, because you went over the bridge. And now we see what's happening to the bridge now. Oh, my goodness. The original bridge was gorgeous, even though it had that turn in it. I think maybe the turn was good because people had to slow down.
We were talking earlier about the how exciting it was on Thursday nights downtown. People today don't understand that, but stores and banks all closed the rest of the week, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
But on Thursday night, everything stayed open, and we came over and we went to theaters and we shopped and we cashed our checks. And
that's right.
It was an event.
And Sundays, the stores weren't open. And not that we had the blue laws, but it was just, they just weren't open on Sundays. Things changed when people could shop at any hour of the day, and 24 hours a day. And now they can, of course, because of the internet. But the point is that it brought a lot of people together.
Right.
And the downtown was exciting. Did you go down on Thursday night?
Oh, probably every Thursday.
Was cool. And if you were a teenager, that was a place to be. You stood in front of Woolworths.
And there was like the Mr. Peanut,
Mr. Peanut.
Planter's Peanuts. He'd be walking around in front.
And you could smell those peanuts of that roaster going out in front. It was really cool. And there was a music store, Apex, on the corner, right? The music coming out of the sound and everything.
And Lum Fung's restaurant.
Oh my gosh, I loved Lum Fung's. It was really, I remember that very well. That was my first Chinese meal was at Lum Fung's. My mother used to bring me there, and it was so good. Nice people there too, yeah. I'm sorry to see that have gone, but.
Right.
But there were a lot of really great stores. We had 3 department stores. We had Carl's and Wallace's and Barney's. And now, how did your dad do all of this research, or how did you do your research?
Well, my dad was the city and Schenectady city and county historian for many years, and of course he worked at the Schenectady Gazette, which became the Daily Gazette. He was a political writer, but also wrote columns on history, and in fact it was called Tales of Old Dorp.
Yeah, Tales of Old Dorp.
I just happened to bring one.
I just happen to have it here.
This was actually...
What a coincidence.
It was this was his last book in the late 1990s, and as you can see, book one, he had a compilation of what he thought were his best columns.
Yeah.
And you see, this was book one. He intended to do some more, but he became ill, and he just wasn't able to
complete
do
that.
anymore.
Well, maybe that's what you'll do next.
Well, I'm kind of busy with other things.
Yeah, he's got a collar on here. I think you're a minister, pastor.
Yeah. Deacon at St. Anne's of Amsterdam.
Yeah. So you're busy, and that's good.
Right.
That's a good thing. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you,
And
Ann.
to now, how can people get your dad's books or your books?
Well, my phone number is 887-5789, and my email address is ahart@nycap.rr.com.
Okay, so you can get a hold of them.
Yep.
And I have Bob Cudmore coming on in a week or so to talk about his Mohawk Valley thing.
Dad and Bob were good friends.
Yeah. So watch for Bob Cudmore. He'll be on the show soon. So thanks so much for being. It's a pleasure to meet you and to learn more about your dad. Always great. And keep on, get that second book done.
All right.
Good.